Okay, great. So, welcome everybody. I am so happy to see you, and I'm so happy to be doing this. And I'm really grateful to see a number of people that I've worked with before, and some new folks. So, welcome. And those of you who worked with me before know that the community aspect of our class is really important to me, and that you all, will build up some trust, I hope, in feeling really relaxed about showing some of the work that we do in this class and not being judged, because it really is about the process and it really is about learning from each other. And I think I said this to you in some of the emails. So it will be some dialogue. It will be, both a combination of demos and work time within our 3 hours, and also showing your work as a way to learn from each other. So like I said in the email, not everybody may be used to this kind of a thing, but I do hope that you take the showing of your work as a learning experience for everybody. And I never say good or bad, you can, right? You guys who have been working with me for a while, here comes Shani, that's great. Yeah, that's my thing. So great. Well, let's just get Shani in here. Good morning, Shani. Hi, nice to see you. Oh, and here's Anne. Great, everybody's coming just in time. Fabulous. Okay, Shani, we met in Great Barrington, right? And you're muted. Unmute.
There we go.
There we go.
Gotcha.
Yay.
Yeah, we met in Great Barrington. You did a
Okay,
guild workshop.
That's awesome. So nice to see you. And Anne,
Nice to
hi.
see
Nice to see you.
Hi.
And you were muted, Anne, just so you know. Yeah. Great. Okay. So I was just beginning. That's just did a little bit of an intro to this, but I'm happy to recap. But here's the deal: is that the focus of this is community. The focus of it is having a really pleasurable art making experience in community, and to learn some what I hope to impart to you are some things that you'll be able to use throughout any kind of art making process you do. And really, collage to me is talking about composition. So it's the, and I love to teach it because it is the basic element of all art making. So the things that you're going to get out of this class, I'm hoping you'll understand that you can apply them across the board. Yes, we will be doing obviously some techniques that are very particular to collage, which means from the French coller, which is to stick together, right? So that's where this whole comes from. But collage is really all about composition. So before we get into more blah blah from me, I would love you all to introduce yourselves to each other, and just take a couple minutes, real short, to say your name, where you're located, because that's always fun. And also, do we have 2 people in Florida right now? Katie, are you in Florida? Yeah,
I am.
And Jean is too, and Great Barrington. And is anybody else out of Massachusetts?
you.
Okay. So yeah, let's start with Jean. And Jean, tell us all a little bit about yourself and a couple of things about what you're hoping to get out of this class.
Hi, Jean Gugino. I lived in Boston for 52 years, and now I am living in Buffalo, New York. But right now, I am moving off my brother in Florida for the last 3 months. It has been a very exciting experience because he lets me have a little studio area, and I have been making art like crazy, and then I'll have to send it back to Buffalo, where I hope to put it into some shows. I was an art teacher. That's my training. And I'm also still an active member of the Newton Art Association, former president there. And I really love collage and I like the making papers, the composition. It's sometimes musical. I love putting it together with some of my jelly prints, which Adria, of course, started me off on. I just love them. And I've been making little books of what I do. So that's where I am now.
Awesome,
More
Jean.
stuff today and get more knowledge.
Excellent. So glad to see you. Thanks. Susan Kinsella, I'm just going along my list the way you guys have lined up on my screen here. So yeah, Susan, tell us.
Hi, I'm Susan Kinsella, and I live in Somerville, Massachusetts. I love collage. I've been making my 2D art has primarily been collage, though I've been trying to paint recently. I don't have any formal training. I don't have, that's not really where my background is. I always wrote, but that was my form of expression. And in my mid-50s, I found Snow Farm in Western Massachusetts, and started making jewelry there, and then met Alexandra Sheldon, who introduced me to collage, and I've worked with her for quite a bit. So
Great. And you're just here to kind of get back into it and
yeah, I've been going through a real dry spell. I
Uh-huh.
don't know if other people get that way, but it's been just like hard for even to sit down at my art table. And
Mhm.
so I thought taking a class would be a good way to jumpstart things.
Yes.
And I always feel like, at least with my jewelry making, that having different teachers is very, very valuable.
Mhm.
You can kind of almost get stuck in a rut if you stick with one teacher. So
Yeah.
I'm really interested in seeing, to learning your take on collage.
Okay.
I got so much out of the class that I took with you last spring that I'm hoping this will be the same.
Great, Susan. Thanks so much. Katie, hi.
Hi, yeah.
Yeah, tell us a little bit about you.
Well, during the pandemic, when the pandemic started, I started taking some classes with Adria, and I had just started doing a switch from painting, pretty realistic, to just diving into more abstract, free, what I like to call painting from the inside out. And I just took classes with Adria, and it just kept me, I love the style of just not letting anything get precious and just playing around. And it just is a whole nother world of painting for me. So much more interesting, so much more freeing, so much more, I feel like, an expression of me. Yeah, I live in Beverly. I'm down in Florida, in Venice. I don't know where you are, Jean, but yeah. So the collage, I've done a lot of the jelly plate printing, and I'd like to play around. I have a lot of stuff, and I love working at that, and I'd like to that's why I'm really excited about this collage class.
Good. All right. Thank you so much, Katie. That's great. Susan St. Maurice, hi.
Hi, Susan St. Maurice. I live in Bedford, Mass. And I retired a month before the shutdown started. So I had nowhere to go and lots of time. And I started taking classes. I started with Adria's jelly print class. And it just, here I am, 3 years later. And I'm on this project. I did mostly collages last year. I took several workshops that were really eye openers. And my New Year's resolution was sort of to do at least one postcard collage a day. So I'm doing well over more. I'm doing more than one, not every day, but I've got it's amazing how fruitful it's been. And I'm just going in all different directions with it. A lot of them giving me ideas for things to do in bigger, on a bigger scale. So I'm really looking forward to, from this class, I'm relying too much on magazines and newspapers and found stuff. And I'd like to work on some hand painted components and handmade components.
Great. Thank you, Susan. Okay. Sounds really good. And kudos for keeping that practice going and, really sticking.
Yeah, I mean, you really kicked my butt into a whole new, level.
Good. Thank you. All right. Let's see. Joan, tell us a little bit about you. You want to unmute yourself there? And Joan is a friend of Anne's. So Yeah, thank you for bringing Joan in here.
Hi.
Joan, do you see the little microphone in the bottom of your screen? It's got like a red slash through it. She can't hear. I mean, we can't hear her. Joan, let me come back to you, okay? Yeah, keep playing with that on the bottom there. It's on the bottom on my screen. It's on the bottom
Everybody's screen. Right.
left-hand side. Is that right? If
Yeah.
you're
When
looking
you put
at
your, if you, there you go.
there you go. Oh, good, Joan, you got it. All right, let's hear from you. Go ahead. Hi.
Okay, yeah, I got a phone call, came
Oh.
in and I guess muted
Oh,
our conversation. Anyway, my name's Joan Thorman and I live in Lexington.
Mhm.
And I don't have any formal training, but I love art, seeing it. And I've done watercolors for a lot, off and on during my life. And I'm also doing collages of stuff, but abstract collages. And
Hi, 1 sec.
I'm taking this course in part.
I'm gonna off. I just muted myself. Hello, thank you so much for coming. Okay, so this is my daughter's house.
You didn't mute yourself. Let
So,
me
first
mute
of all,
that.
This
hold on,
key,
hold
you're
on.
only supposed to turn left, right?
Yeah.
But the person who.
There you go.
And you got to shut your, there you
Okay,
go.
I just muted her. All right, Joan, sorry, go ahead. And so you haven't had a lot of training, but you're up for anything.
Right.
Okay.
And I'm taking this class, Ann Robertson sent me the link and suggested I take it. And I'm good friends with both Ann and Kathy Herkstall, which at least half of you know Kathy.
Yes.
Because I recognize some of your names as a member of this art group. Anyway, so, and I know that Ann and Kathy took, and Jane Curson too is another friend.
Oh my God, okay.
Yeah, took courses, Ann and Kathy took courses throughout the pandemic, I know.
Yeah.
So I'm excited about this because I know Adria is very inventive and inspiring. So I'm looking forward to getting a push to do something out of my regular stuff that I do.
I promise you that will happen.
But I believe so already. Black and white also urges me because I'm really more interested. Oh, well, I'm interested in color. I love color.
Yeah.
So, and shapes, and I've been doing. I used to do quotes, my version of realistic, but recently my eyes are not great, so I am doing very abstract or all abstract. And I am doing abstracts with circles. I somehow cannot paint anything without putting a circle in.
Yeah, well, that sounds like a good, sort of segue into a collage. You may be, right, ready for something like this because we are going to be really focusing on composition. Thanks, John. Let me just get to, we have, a larger class here. Anne, hi, tell us a little bit about you, Anne Schaffler.
right. Ann Schaffler.
Yeah.
I recently moved to West Concord from the Cape from Lexington. So last time I took a course with Adria, I was in the furnace room of
All right.
in the Cape.
I remember.
But it was really fun. And it was great because we had to make something really big. And so it was a good experience.
Oh, good. Yeah.
Because I work like this. And I wanted to take, and I've been a member of a group called Studio 7, which is mentored by Sally Santuoso in Lexington, ever since our days at the De Cordova Museum School. And I've been working a lot in assemblage and collage. And then lately I got, because of some, circumstances, I got into paper weaving. And now I'm feeling like I need to get back to my I need to be more open. I mean, paper weaving is very tight and I mean, I like it, but I want to get back into the free flow. So that's
Good.
why I'm here. And I know Adria will lead the way.
Excellent. Thanks, Anne. Thank you all for your confidence in me. Really appreciate it. Shani, I met Shani at a workshop in Great Barrington, Mass, about a year ago or so. And great to see you. Tell us a little bit about you, Shani, and where you are. Unmute. We can't hear you. Yeah.
There we go. Hi, everyone. I'm so happy to be here. My name is Shani Porras. I live out in Stockbridge, and I'm sitting in my art studio now in Pittsfield. I've been doing art professionally for about 3 years. So it started right before COVID, a great time to start an art career. But I am formally trained in painting and printmaking and have a BFA in painting and printmaking. And I think I took a detour and went into corporate America for a number of years. And 3 years ago, I made the jump into sort of professional artist realm. But I feel like I still need to learn. And one of the things that I want to get out of this class is really, to build up my muscle on composition, because I feel like with all the abstract work that I do, I work primarily in acrylics, and I tend to add a variety of things to the paintings. I have no limits as to what I could add. So paper in collage scares me a little bit, but I think it was always because I found it a little bit intimidating. And I think I realized that it's because composition is the hardest thing for me. So I'm here to really sort of focus on that and see how I can use collage to build up that muscle.
That's awesome, Shani, and that's very insightful. And it's interesting because I have a lot of people who are terrified of painting, but collage is no problem. So, you guys need to get together. Oh, that's so funny. Well, I look forward to working with you on that. Terrific. Let's see, Anne, last but not least, I'm so happy to see Anne because I know she had a bit of a time with COVID, but you are muted because I muted you. So unmute yourself. Can you unmute? And oops, do you see it? I think she's on her phone.
Yeah.
I'm not sure where the unmute is on, let's see, Zoom here. Is anybody else on a phone?
The lower left, you have to
Lower
touch
left. Yeah, lower left.
Of
And
your
you'll
screen.
see
Yeah, I
there
got
you
it.
go.
Got it,
Yay.
yeah. Hi.
Hi.
So I'm here with a locksmith, many complications this morning, so it'll be brief.
Okay.
I live in Brookline. Right now I'm in Cambridge at my daughter's house where nobody's here but the cats and a locked door. But anyway, so I started with Adria at the beginning of COVID with jelly pad prints, and I love that. And I have been taking art classes in many media since I retired, probably almost 10 years ago. And most interested in printmaking and collage. And so just excited to be doing this, and especially interested in the things that apply across art, like composition.
Yeah.
So nice to see friends on the call and looking forward to it. And if I have to drop off, I will, but I'll look at the recording.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, no problem with that, Anne. Yeah.
Thanks
and
so much.
Yeah, so glad to see you. Really.
Thank
lovely
you.
to have here.
Thanks.
Yeah, so
Okay.
good.
Bye-bye.
All right, everybody. Well, thank you so much for hanging in there with the introductions. But I do think it's great to have that because you build up trust with people. And as we talk about our work and, get into various conversations, I think, that's one of the great things about Zoom is that, we do have this connection with each other. And I love making art in community. I think that's what it's all about. I'm really saw that during COVID and working on Zoom. Even though I've been teaching in real life for years and years and years, there was nothing like the community that developed. And I don't know why that is. Maybe it's that we see each other's faces, when you, I don't know, but to me, it's really been, I love it. I love teaching on Zoom. And I found that, it really does work. Although if you'd asked me that before we all did this, I would have said, no, it has to be in real life. So, who knew? But anyway, all right, let's get into this. So it sounds like everybody's on the same page about, understanding that, a big part of collage has got to be composition. And as I was saying earlier, that's what I love about teaching it. And because I do believe so much that composition is it's like, it's like the understructure. It's like the skeleton of all art making. Like if the composition isn't there, it doesn't matter what you're trying to say. You really do need to know how to manipulate this. And I am not a believer in rules about composition. My whole feeling about it, and that you can just substitute the word collage for the word composition, is that it's really about kind of an understanding of human perception. And so trust yourself and trust your own eyes and your own intellect about deciding, about a composition. We don't use the words good and bad, because I think that it's all about what is it you're trying to do. So we're all, in different places in this, and working on our work. So take this, understand that these 3 weeks together, each Friday, will really be like research and development. I don't want you to feel like you're making art with a capital A, because the preciousness is what gets in the way of a lot of us. And I know that also, I believe that you want a pleasurable art making experience that isn't frustrating, where you're not beating your head against the wall and you don't feel like it's either good or bad. So, this whole time we're really going to be kind of learning tricks to release, the self-judge, which gets in the way. Yes, does everybody understand, feel that? Yeah. And so there are strategies that I can share with you about how to move past that. And also, ways that I hope things that you'll just think about, and the more you do it, the more easily it comes to you as you progress. So what I thought we would do today is to, introduction and a couple of exercises that we'll do in class. 3 hours really goes quickly. I mean, it's already almost 10:30, and we're going to cover what we can today, focusing on monochrome, focusing on black, white, and gray. All right, I know we all love color, it's true, but the thing about color is that you can't disconnect it from those basic building blocks and understanding value. So value is, the relative light or dark. And sometimes colors just jazz us all so that we forget about that. And so we may be wondering, why is a composition not as strong as it could be? Why am I not, interested in looking at as much as I might want to? And chances are it has to do with that balance, or the way the values are working, right? Okay, so let's go to a video that I made here just to start this conversation off a little bit. Oh, Joan, you're coming back in
On my tablet, I'm trying.
Okay. All right, that may make a little bit of an echo.
Well, yeah, I won't put the sound on.
Okay, all right, I will put you in here. Okay.
That's
Okay. So all right, so I'm going to share the screen now and talk to you through these video that I've put together. You guys are not seeing that yet, right? Okay, hold on a second. Let me just screen share. There we go. All right. So let's see, what I want to do is to start with something that you may all feel pretty like you know it, but I can't talk about composition without talking about negative and positive space, right? So if you've heard this before from me, just bear with me, but we will be talking about it so much that I want to make sure that everybody's on the same page. And some of you may not know about it. So those of you who are familiar, just bear with me here. Those of you for whom this is new, and some of you may have actually seen this particular video, but I want to say that, and I've turned my audio out, so I'm going to sort of narrate through this here. Let's just stop here. What I'm doing here is I am showing a little simple black and white line drawing that was based on, oh, you know what? Let me actually start with this different one. This is the second one that I wanted to do. Hold on a second. I want to get out of this one. I want to do this one, this first one. Yes. And I know you've seen this one because I remember
We're
that
not-
in this class.
Adria, we're not, I'm not seeing a
Are you
video.
not seeing it yet? Okay,
I'm
thank you.
just seeing your
Okay.
file manager screen.
Okay, hang on. Okay.
Doesn't open it.
Yeah, let me just get this here. Okay, there we go. All right. You guys see
Okay.
it now?
Yep.
Yeah, you are. Okay, great. Okay, so what I'm doing here is I'm talking about a photograph. And I am using a viewfinder made of 2 pieces of paper. This is such an important little tool to have. And if you have not ever, just kind of puts this together, so simple, you don't have to spend a lot of money for it. You just take 2 sheets of paper and cut L's out of them, and it doesn't even have to be perfectly straight. But this kind of thing can help you find and understand the concept of negative positive. So let me just go back to her again. Yeah, we're going to stop that. Whoops, hold on. I want to just grab her right here. Okay. All right. So what happens here is that I've just taken those 2 L's and made a frame that helps us to see the space around this dancer. And it's the space around the dancer that we call negative space. It's sort of a kind of funny cultural thing where we call, this space nothing and this space something, but really they're both somethings. But you could say foreground or background, you could say positive or negative, you could say, various different ways of terming it, but positive is what we think of as an object, and the negative is the space around it. Understanding that, really getting that concept is really helpful to be able to manipulate your composition and understand how to make something that draws you in as a viewer. And really, while composition really is a strong composition, a composition that works, is a composition that gets your idea across and next and shall I say interests the viewer, draws the viewer in and keeps the viewer looking. So anybody who's ever been a graphic designer, this is the key, right? You want to sell something through your design, so you need to keep the viewer interested. So how do you do that? We just go back to what our own natural inclination is as human beings. One of the things, and let me just go through a little bit of this a little bit further, is, one of the things that we understand about ourselves is that we connect with something in the center. We connect with circles, because they're like eyeballs, right? And a baby, an infant looking at his mother's face, we are so conditioned, we are so drawn to circles or to bullseyes. Think about ads you've seen, like I can't help but think of the Tide laundry detergent box. It's a bullseye. You can have picked a better more effective design than that to get people to go and look at your product. But that designer understands our fascination, with a circle. We almost can't look away. So, that's something that we know about. So when we use circles in our work, we understand that that's very powerful, and we can really draw eyeballs to what we want people to look at. So that's just one thing. And this whole thing about negative and positive is that it helps us to understand too, that the outer shapes are some things that we really need to pay attention to, because they also need to be interesting. So you can put, I don't care whether you're working abstractly or you're working realistically, where you're trying, to depict objects that people will understand. I don't care what it's about. It could be the most, moving, emotional imagery. If you don't pay attention to how it relates to the rectangle, you may lose your viewer. So, this is one particular view of it, but when you notice when I drew this, I was paying attention not to the figure, but to the outer edges. And so I was trying to draw the outer edges. If I do that effectively, if I look at this shape separated out from the whole picture and try to draw just that object, just that shape, if I do that effectively all the way around, I'm going to get a pretty good representation of the dancer. So you can't separate the positive from the negative. You always need to be thinking about it, right? And so we'll continue to talk about this. Let me just go through the rest of it, where I'm just showing that you can use any object, whether it's a chair or a person or whatever. It's all about really paying attention to the negative spaces by kind of artificially, this helps, this artificial, like sort of putting around a border around it, helps us to sort of, grab the shapes that are really around this object. Everybody says that's so hard to draw a chair. Well, if you really pay attention to the negative spaces, it's not so hard to draw a chair. You can really do it by paying attention to the negative and the positive, both of those things. And, again, this is really a quickie sort of introduction to negative, positive. But as you can see here, if I pay attention to the skinny shape on the edge here and this other weird shape here, I am actually going to be drawing the chair, reasonably well. And of course, it's not perfect, but it does sort of simplify, how this picture, sort of stands, kind of transitions into just relative into shapes. And you can do this with everything. So we're not going to focus on, the drawing today. We're really talking about composition in general. But to really get this idea of positive, negative, we're going to be talking about it constantly in this class. I hope this helps you to kind of remind yourselves that the thing really isn't the most important thing. It's about how everything fits together, like pictures, like a jigsaw puzzle. You can't have one shape without thinking about the other. Questions? Comments? Are we with me? Are you all with me? Yeah?
Yes.
Yeah, good. Okay, good.
Yeah, this is great. Thank you. I think I've seen this before, but
Yeah.
seeing it right now, it's like,
Oh, good, Katie.
Great.
Yeah, good. So yes, and I went through it quickly, but again, because we're not using this to draw, this is a very good place. I often use this demonstration when I'm teaching drawing, because it is, again, so critical. You can't really teach drawing without talking about negative, positive. You can't, you can teach anything without starting with negative, positive. It's like one of the great building blocks of understanding the elements of art. And I love sharing that concept. Okay, so we're going to go to this second one that I had. Okay, so hold on a second. All right, we're going to go back to that screen again. Okay, and we're going to look at the second one, because this one is, sort of takes us the next step, which is, what I'm showing is, okay, take this and make it larger. But you'll see it's really the same thing on another sheet of paper. If I start by just making a border, and this border is helpful, and the border is what we're going to be doing. The border is the edge of any sheet of paper. It's the border of the edge of your canvas. It's a border. It is just a stand-in for that rectangular format that we all, you know.
Yeah, we don't see
Oh.
anything
Oh,
here.
sorry. Okay, thank you. I'm my Zoom is my Zoom qualities are not all right. There we go. Okay, can you guys see that now? Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, great. Okay, so what this is now taking this smaller sheet of paper and I'm just redrawing it on a large sheet of paper, starting with drawing this outer edge. So the outer edge here is shorthand for understanding any edge that you're working with. So it could be a postcard size sheet of paper, it could be a big canvas. It doesn't matter. If you're working on a rectangular space, this, you know, this just represents that. And it's and sometimes it's helpful to do that when you're trying to get the understanding of negative positive. But what this is just, I'm going to show you again, I'm going to redraw it by paying attention to this shape. You almost can start to name these shapes. That's how important they are. And once you stop paying so much attention to the things that, you know, we think of as being real, like a figure or a vase or a flower. Once you get your focus away from the thing and you start seeing that the negative spaces are also super important. You can't draw the flower without a negative space. It's sort of this great shift that happens. Betty Edwards talks about it in her famous book, Drawing on the Left Side of the Brain, that came out in the 70s. And it's so true. That was one of the best ways that I ever learned about how to talk about this. It really opens up so much. So do you see how that shape is this shape, more or less? That's critical. Like I'm focusing not on the figure, but I'm focusing on that negative shape. Yeah, you're going to hear me blah, blah, blah about it over and over. But drawing this shape gives me the head. Drawing the outside of that body, paying attention to this shape gives me the other edge of her. And so if you want more accuracy, you know, yes, of course, you can go back in there and draw, you know, use your drawing techniques. But, you know, I can't emphasize enough how important paying that attention to those negative shapes will really help that accuracy and also help everything that you do in terms of a composition, you know. So the rest of this is just painting it in. And, you know, now you've almost got, you know, rested on its side. It's not a figure. It's this, you know, really interesting sort of placement of these yellow shapes. And another thing you notice is how much I've gone off the page with these shapes. So this isn't something you have to do, but it is something to keep in mind as we work with composition. How, you know, having things that float in the center of the page may not be your best use of composition. When you start to think about how things can come off the page, you start to see that your designs become more grounded. Now, you may want the feeling of weightlessness, and that's great. And if you want weightlessness, for sure, you could have a bunch of little smaller circles here, and they're not connected to the outside edge. And that may very well give you that weightless feeling. So it isn't intrinsically wrong, you know. We don't use wrong or right in this class, but you know, what I'm saying is there's no rule except does it work to express your design? Okay, so having said that, let's go to my next demo. Okay.
Adrian, I have a question. The
Yeah.
last thing that you were just talking about
Yeah.
was the difference between letting things go off the edge.
Yeah.
That something that's just in the center by itself, it gives it more of a weight.
Yes, that is one thing that having shapes
And
that go right off the page.
Stuff go off is more, okay, that
Yes.
makes sense, thanks.
Yeah, and I'm going to talk more about this in this next video. So this is just kind of like here we are with our basic, you know, kind of overview of how composition can work as sort of a way into this whole thing. Let me do this other one that I've done too, which is using cut paper as a way into understanding composition. So what I'm going to do is also talk over this and talk a little bit about what, some of the things we just talked about in the black and white video, where I'm showing you that I've just cut about a random bunch
Okay, we
of,
don't see.
oh, you don't see it
the
again? Oh my
video.
goodness, I'm so sorry. Wow, this is very weird. I think that maybe what's happened is that Zoom has changed their format a little bit. And that, okay, let me just do this again. Thank you everybody for letting me know. All right, yeah. Okay, let's see if this works. Okay. You can see now, yes, okay, great. All right,
No, no,
no, not yet?
no.
Okay, all right. All right. There we go. Okay. Now,
Yay.
okay.
Yes.
All right. So as you can see, I've got a lot of different sizes and shapes of colors that I'm very random that I just cut because those are the characters of our little play that we're going to put on here. So, all right, let me just get this in. All right. So here we have with the single circle, there it is, an orange circle on a pretty much flat blank piece of paper. What am I going to ask you, what comes to mind when you see this? Just yell out different, what is an emotion or a thought or a feeling or an idea that comes across when we're just looking at a single orange on a background.
Sun.
Sun. Yeah. Anything
Aloneness.
else?
Desert.
Mhm.
Desert.
Alone.
Alone. Yes.
Lonely.
Lonely. Yes. Yes. Although the
At the
colors
beginning, I
here.
think of like it's either a sunrise or sunset. It gives a sense of, the sun and the universe. So that's the association kind of.
Yeah. How about space? How about what I mean is like a sort of openness because there's so little on there. Yes, space is another one.
Mhm.
Being able to breathe. So yes, all right. So this isn't a bad or a good composition. It is something that can really speak volumes if that is what you want to try and do. So yes, the orange on yellow is going to connote warmth, I think. The sun for sure. These are warm colors, so that really contributes to how we feel about that. If it was a black on gray, it might feel really differently. But we associate a round shape like this in a big area as, something in the sky. And loneliness, yes, because it's all by itself. It could be. However, the emotional quality of the warmth of the colors kind of works against that. All right, so this is, let's keep going. Wait a minute. I put it in the middle. Does that change how you feel?
Looks like a present or an envelope with a seal on it.
Oh,
I don't know.
right.
To me, it's very
exactly.
positive.
Yeah. Is it the sun still?
No.
No.
The center of a flower.
Yeah, now we're looking at the whole shape. The paper becomes part of the object.
Yes.
Hmm.
Yes. So important. Exactly. So it's not a good or bad. It's just, wow, that did something. You cannot not look at that circle, right? You see how your eyes just go boom, 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 into the circle, into the circle. Again, because we are programmed as human beings to do that. All right, now it's going off the page. Let's see what else happens when I do this. What happened? It changed. Anything different you might feel now or notice now?
Space
This
is more.
is
Such an upward, the eyes just drawn up and almost like off the page to wherever it's going.
there's movement.
Yeah.
Yes, and you're wondering what that must continue, right? Because it goes off the page like that. Oh, that's going somewhere. And certainly changing the way we view this, maybe turning it up, 90 degrees or whatever could do. All right, so we're going to keep going here. Oh, now we have two
Tension.
circles. Tension. Yeah, Jean, why do you say that?
Bong, bong, bong.
Yeah, they're in the corner. And that is definitely an interesting choice, right? So your eye wants to go back and forth. And there is tension. You're like, are they magnetized? Are they leaving each other? Are they going toward each other? It's really interesting how that happens. Now they're overlapping. What does this bring to mind?
Togetherness, balance. I don't know. This is very friendly.
Yeah. Yeah. And because again, the colors are nice and warm, I think we do feel like, oh, these guys they're together. Maybe, in a nice happy field. If they were, a different value or different colors, we may feel differently about that. But yes, it's sort of a positive, maybe kissing each other or taking care of each other. And we introduce a larger circle now. What happens when we move these little circles around? There's a lot of there's a lot of stuff going on in that lower left-hand corner. What happens?
It's not carrying the space. It's not carrying into the space. The other space is sort of fallen away.
Yeah, and you're really looking at that left-hand side. You're not really paying attention to the right because of all that activity in the left. But what does that emptiness on the right-hand side do? Do you feel like it speaks?
It needs something.
But yeah, well, maybe so. But depending on your design, that could be something that you're specifically trying to say. But yes,
Well, there's a vastness to it, to the empty space.
yes,
It
a
could-
vastness. Yes. And so
go
that may
on
be
and on.
something, so my point here really, as you guys are seeing, is that, this is, there is more than just creating a balanced design or an attractive design. The design can also help you get across your ideas. And, just by the placement of something else, you really can control how the viewer looks at what you're doing. So here we have this introduction of another big circle. And now, yes, we are now paying attention to the right. Where our eyes sort of, we seem to be, as human beings, we are looking for the object. We're maybe not as interested in looking at the negative space. Could that be evolutionary? Could that just be biological? But again, we are working with the way our minds perceive, the way, we are sort of trained to look. So now we're suddenly paying attention to this upper right-hand side. It does feel more balanced because we have this red and we have this red here. So we are seeing a repetition of the same color and repetition of the same shape. So when you repeat, and that's a good one to write down if anybody's taking notes, when you repeat a shape, you create a design that can interest the viewer because we want to find similarities. That's the other thing that human brains do naturally. We want to find something else that's like it. We're looking for similarity. We're looking for repetition. We find repetition kind of comforting. And so that, that would be one way to create a composition that holds together by some kind of repetition. Okay, we're going to keep going. Oh, wait a minute. I just threw in a completely crazy color that's not repeated any place and shape that's just like, what? And there it is on top of the red. What happens here?
Your eye goes along the pink up to the red.
Boy, it sure does. It really acts like an arrow, doesn't it?
Yeah.
So interesting. And for me, at least right now, I'm not too bothered by it because there's enough repetition going on here and the other places that I don't feel like I don't know what to do with this. Like I can accept it as part of this. And in fact, I kind of enjoy it, but it really directs my attention right up into this red circle. And I think for me, and this is something, you know, as I talk here, test yourselves. Do you find yourself sliding up this pink arrow into the red first? Where
Yeah.
do your eyes go first? Yeah. So where your eyes go first and then where they go second is really interesting, you know, because again, this is something else our eyes do. Our eyes follow contour. We're going to go around edges, you know, and this is actually kind of good because when I get down here, I seem to want to follow the contour back up into the red, which then takes me here and here and here and here, and whoops. So this is what you want to do. You actually do want to keep your viewer within your composition. You want to keep them looking as long as you can. So if we understand about this concept, like your eye wants to go and it loves edges and it also understands arrows, you know, this is something we can kind of use for our own benefit. Okay, let's keep going. Let's see what else. Oh, I just changed that. I put that pink spot in the middle. What happens now?
Divided.
Yeah,
My eye bounces back and forth from circle to circle.
yeah, and maybe almost plays a little volleyball game here across this. It splits it. Interesting. Yeah. I added an orange one. What happens now?
Hmm.
Let's talk about the value, because this is where we're going to be really concentrating on today a lot. The value of this pink is very light. It's almost the same value as the background, isn't it? And you can
Disappears.
Yes, it does. And when you squint your eyes, in fact, I encourage everybody to squint their eyes a lot during our class, because when you squint your eyes, you're looking through your eyelashes and you are seeing a kind of blurry vision, but you really start to see the value. You, for some reason, see the lightness or darkness of colors when you squint your eyes more than when your eyes are open. So it's a great little tool. And if you're trying to figure out what's the lightest thing up here, it's very clear that the background and that pink are the lightest value. The orange is second, and the red is the darkest, right? So you could say, this is, you know, the lightest stuff up here. This would be comparable to a medium gray. And this would almost be like a very dark charcoal. Okay, so let's keep going. I'm going to move a little bit faster here, so, you know, but this is kind of interesting what we have happen here. This is one of the things that I love showing, because this starts to talk a little bit about how we can use color. What's happening here? What do you see? Anybody want to take a little bit of a
All of a sudden, I start seeing the positive, negative a lot more quicker because of the difference in the values, the starker differences in the values. And like, as you talked about the contour, how the eye follows contour.
Yeah.
And it's more dramatic with this, like with the example of where the two circles are. It's like the reverse of the colors are the reverse.
Yes.
Somehow.
That's so much fun. And that is, you know, something that we can play with colors. Do these colors look the same color to you? I mean, you guys know that they are, but you know, you might see them a little bit differently.
Yeah, the rectangle looks lighter than the circle, the red circle to me.
It does, yeah. So you start to see a little bit of, you know, the color theory in action here, where we're not going to go down that road, but, you know, fun things you can do with color. They look different when they're placed on other different colors. The same color can look really different or can change a little bit. Now, what about this whole composition here? I'm personally not that interested now in looking here. I really have a hard time getting over here.
Yep.
Personally, do
It's
you?
heavy on the
Yeah.
left.
Oh, wait, yeah, it's heavy on the left. It's way-
Yeah, and there's nothing over here to kind of get my vision kind of moving down here. So I would say that this is kind of an unbalanced composition for me right now. And I'm not even sure that it's doing anything sort of emotionally, you know, so I would say this one needs something. This one needs, I would love to have something over here that helps me be interested in looking in this kind of big empty space. So let's see what we do here. Oh, there you go. Yay. All right.
It's
I
fixed.
feel, yeah, now, because I'm looking at repetition of color and repetition of shape, I bounce back. And suddenly this becomes more interesting to me, more balanced because of adding that little orange circle there.
Adria, do you think this would work if that orange circle on the right were an orange square?
Oh, interesting.
Because I feel like the need for that repetition in the circles
Yeah.
may make that circle more successful than a square. Maybe.
No, but you do also have a rectangle. So we're now starting to work with two different kinds of shapes. We have both
Yeah.
rectangles and circles. Shani, that's a really interesting question. And I would say, try it.
Right.
Because at least you've got some nice repetition to work with. You've got a color and you've got shapes, you know, they're all going to kind of work together. It would be interesting to try.
Yeah.
You know, but yeah, that's exactly the kind of thing that you can think about. All right, here's one where I move that orange. And now, you know, I don't want to take all morning to do this, but you know, you're getting the general idea here. The rest of this is just kind of now adding things to it. And finally, I've got two shapes that are going off the page. Just trying some different things here.
Mm.
How crazy can I go before it becomes too hard to look at, where I just get bounced out because it becomes too complicated? And then some of this becomes personal preference. Maybe you're somebody who really loves just very simple design. Nothing wrong with that. Maybe you're somebody who just loves more the merrier, you know, and that's where the personal, you know, really comes into all of this. But, you know, this is the challenge here is, as I was doing this, you know, how far can I go before it breaks down? Can I add a circle? You know, what about adding that little star there? Is that crazy? What happens when I do that? Well, it's black though. It's also black. So I have a little bit of that repetition of the circle being half circle black and then the star black. And I'm going to add another shape.
The great thing about being able to play around like this is what I find is when I start getting into something, I'm one of those, I'm a more the merrier kind of gal. But this way I can go crazy and keep adding, but then I can subtract too as my eye sees fit. Instead of doing it on, you know, like if I'm painting or doing something that's more permanent, I can't go back. So this is a great, just being able to play around like this with shapes.
Yeah, this we'll be probably doing something like this in next time's class, but yes, exactly. And so, you know what, I think this still works, and the reason it works is because of repetition. And again, just look at your, it's not about liking or not liking, you know, I'm really talking right now about, you know, does it hold together? If it does hold together, it's because of the repetition. So I've got these little skinny, you know, kind of matchsticks, but I repeated them so that my eye goes, ooh, 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 ooh. You know, I'm using this in, you know, one of the other things to know is that our eyes like to start in the right-hand side. of an image. Did you ever notice that? You should, you know, as we're, you know, going through these classes in the weeks between, you know, it'd be interesting if you catch yourself looking at any design and where you start. A lot of times we find that we start an entrance into the right-hand side. You know, the Renaissance artists, the big portrait artists and everything, those guys really understood this. And a lot of times you'll find, you know, there's a way into the picture on the bottom right-hand corner. Not always, but it's sort of fun. Where, you know, where do you start? Maybe you've started with this red circle because it's so boom right in the middle. But maybe too, you start here and then you walk your way around here and then you're like, whoo, you know, it's almost like a game of ping pong. So can you keep this going? Does it interest you without bouncing you out because it's too much to look at? You know, so what questions do you have? Let's go back. What do you think? Make sense?
Yeah, I don't have any questions.
Good. Yeah, great. Well, so what I've showed you is, you know, again, this focus on not judging bad or good, but just, you know, the emphasis is like it is on everything. You know, we make art to communicate. We want to communicate to somebody else. So we want the viewer to be drawn into what we're making and stay there. So how do you make them enjoy that experience, even if it's a message that might be hard? How do you get them in there and how do you get them to stay? Again, this is like every commercial designer, you know, this is their big thing, you know. How do you get the visual to stay, the viewer to stay in? What do you want to do with, you know, with them once they're there? It's interesting because I see, and you know, I've got a painting behind me. It's actually a print by a good friend of mine, and there is no sort of focal point. It is about repetition, and it's about this very simple design over and over and over again. I can't really take it off the wall, but you know, that's what I mean. Artists will use these ideas of composition to get across what they are interested in saying. If you look close, if you know, what I can say about her work is that if you look closely about it, it's got very lovely sort of subtle lines in between this. So when you're standing in front of it, it's like a piece of music by Philip Glass, right, where it's about repetition, and over and over, and draws you in that way. So there is no bad or good. It's really about how you want to use it, but knowing how the human eye and brain work together, how perception works, and all you need to do is to follow your own, because you're a human. Just like, you know, ask yourself, how do you look at things? What are you drawn to? Why? It's not rocket science. It's really right there. Okay, so now we're going to get into the fun part, which is preparing. So what I had in mind were two things for the rest of today. And the first thing is just getting our hands into some paint, because that's always fun, and preparing some papers to use for this next assignment. And what I had sent you all, you know, and amongst the zillion different videos I sent, was a little bit of this technique that we're going to use, which is stamp printing. You know, yes, you can do it in jelly plates, but you know, you can all you really need is some twine and something to wrap it around, and some paint, and you're kind of ready to go to be making a few papers that we're going to be using for making collage. So let me show you this short video to just explain what that is going to look like, and talk a little bit more about how you are going to do this, right? Okay, so how many, though, before I start into that, how many of you have made a little stamper? Let me just see. Okay, so just 3 people?
Oh, I do.
You do, okay. Okay,
I
great.
Realize my.
All right, because Susan, you haven't gotten a chance to make yours yet? No, okay. And Shannon, do you have one too?
No.
Okay, you're gonna make it, okay. Okay, so I'm gonna just quickly run by this for everybody and then show you what you're going to be doing in the next half an hour or so. We are going to, let's see if this is going to work. Get out of this one. We see the screen? Yes, yes.
No, we're
No,
Okay, weird. All right.
just seeing the,
Oh, well, if you were just seeing this, yeah.
Yes.
Okay, good. That's what I wanted. Yeah, that's right. Okay, so
no.
What
Yeah.
we're just seeing the same thing we used to see when you weren't showing us what you wanted to show us.
that's right. That's right. That's just what you're seeing now is
What
see
you
my
want.
cursor. Yeah, these little, yeah, you'll see in a second. Okay, good. All right. So this is the whole thing about how to make a stamp printer. So, like I was saying, if you didn't have a piece of wood, you can just take, corrugated cardboard or just anything just to make a little kind of packet. And this is simply a device to hold our string. It doesn't have to be fancy. It doesn't have to be a block of wood or anything like that. As I said, I was really lucky that I found this little cardboard box. It was just right. But if you don't have that, you can make your own very, very easy, just by taking this piece of twine and wrapping it around, any kind of a block that you've made. Right, so we go and I'm just using tape to, stick it down to where it, to get it started. That's it.
Adrian, we're not seeing what you're doing. It's we're
Oh,
looking
really?
at
We're
the
still
screen
on.
of
This is so weird. Okay.
video snippets.
Okay. Okay, thank you. All right, hang on. Okay. All right.
no,
We don't see anything.
Again, let's try it again. Oh my gosh. Sorry, everybody. Let's try.
So we're doing this on drawing paper. We're stamping on drawing paper.
Yes.
Okay.
No, not yet.
Not yet. Okay. You see that?
no,
We're just seeing your screen.
What if you minimize the screen where you're choosing the video snippet to play? Why don't you minimize that? Maybe it's behind it.
Okay.
We can see what you're trying to highlight, the one you're trying to highlight, but it's not.
Yeah, it's not coming out. Okay. All right. Let's
No.
see this. How's this?
no.
No, it's
No.
nothing. Same.
No.
All right.
All we-
Sorry. All right. We'll get this working.
Yeah, you
Funny.
got it before,
I
so do
know,
what
it's
you
just
did
the weirdest
before.
thing. It is such a weird thing. I don't really understand it. All right, let me see if I can start this. All right, hold on.
No,
All right, one more time now. Okay, I bet this works.
There you go.
I know. Yeah, there we go. Okay, so I'm just gonna skip through this. All right, so yeah, you all saw this. This
Yes.
is what I showed you. This is just showing you how to tie it together using a piece of tape just to get it started is a great way to hold it down like that. Just go around it. So you're going to do that before you do anything else, but it shouldn't be, it shouldn't take you that long, Susan and the other folks who haven't done it yet. The thing that I did here at the end, which is to, use a little bit of glue on top, it is recommended because it's going to stay down easier for you, and if you're using something like acrylic medium, this gel medium or something thicker like that, it should dry pretty quickly. But anyway, as you can see, just putting that on there. And the other thing is that it allows you to keep using it over and over again. It's kind of a nice little tool to have. Okay, so questions about that?
no,
Okay, great. So now we're going to go to the other one. And now I figured out how to do this. Let's hope that we can do it again. All right. This is, all right, well, we're gonna. do next? I figured this out. I think I have to open it before I show you all. Okay, bet you this is right. Okay.
No,
Yeah, no, I know. I'm not there yet. Hold on.
okay.
All right.
Started screen sharing.
Can you see it? No?
No,
Yep.
we're not yet.
Yes.
Yes?
Yep.
Now
Yes.
we can, yes.
Yes. Oh, yay. Okay. Thank God. All right. So, what we've done here, and I'll just stop here, is basically to take some paint and put it onto your string, right? And you can just paint it on the back of it, and you're going to make 3 sheets of paper, using some paint. So on 2 of them, I would love for you to do just black on white. Okay, so one, make 2 of them black and white. And what you're going to do is print over the surface. And what's fun about this is that you can change your design by overlapping, the printing directions. Making, sort of little groupings of these slashy marks. And some of areas can be less slashy, some can have a lot going on. And to improve the look of these lines, what I suggest you do is to put something underneath your piece of paper, like a pad of paper, because when you press down with your string, you're going to get a better impression if you do that. So it's harder if you just use a piece of paper on a table with nothing underneath it. So just put a little bit of a cushiony thing, like the newspaper if you happen to have one, or a magazine, or just something underneath there to give it a little bit of cush. All right. So what I'm doing here is just showing you the next step. So you're going to spend some time, about 20 minutes, half an hour, just preparing your papers. One of them is going to be all black. So take your paint, and you're just going to go all black over 1 sheet of paper. Put that aside because we need black, right? We're going to use this sheet of paper, and you're going to see what I'm going to do. After it's dry, which is just, give it probably, 15 minutes or so, you're going to go back over that one to give it a tone of gray behind it, right? And just put it aside. So it's going to have, what you're going to do here is dip your brush into, water with just a little bit of paint in it, or get some paint on your brush and just, get some water on it so it's much looser and lighter. Just go over that one of those pieces of paper, right? And then you're going to have the other one where it's just black and white. So we've got a great beginning for some designs because we have some commonality, right? We have repetition. We have repetition in the marks. We have repetition in the value or the colors. And that's a great place to begin, with our first exploration in collage making. So that's what we're going to go do now. And as I said, I'm going to give you about 20 minutes. Let's see how far you get. If you need more time, we'll go ahead and take it a whole half hour. But if you happen to get done, we'll just see how long this takes people. But I'm thinking that it shouldn't take that long to really make these happen. But let's just see how it goes. Yes.
So we want
piece.
3 things. 1, just printing.
Yep.
2 printing plus gray over, and 3 all black.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly. So 3 pieces of paper. I'm thinking that it doesn't have to be a huge sheet of paper at this point. You don't need to do too much. So your size of paper around 8 by 10. but you do want to use your drawing paper because it's going to hold your paint a whole lot better than a piece of print paper, printing paper. It's just, printing paper is too, absorbs too much water. It just,
Wait a second.
actually, it doesn't absorb water too well. Yeah.
So did you say, but you said to use the drawing paper?
Yeah.
Not the,
Don't use print paper. Yeah. Use your drawing paper.
printer. Okay,
Yeah,
got it.
yeah. Okay, so for the next, 20 minutes or so, we're just going to be making some papers and we're going to put those aside because they're going to need some time to dry. But that's a really great thing to do so that you're not trying to work with things that are still wet. It can get messy. Okay, everybody.
And then if I took a big piece of paper and divided it into 4, so the 4th one, I could just think of something that's some variation of that.
Yeah, you can do that too. Sure, that's perfect. Yeah. So not too small because that's not going to be enough to work with, but you don't need to do a whole page of 18 by 24. That's too much probably.
So a 9 by 6 is okay.
Fine, perfect. Yeah, that should be just right. Yeah, yeah. Okay, and if anybody has any questions, just let me know. What I'm going to do is mute us all, but if you need to talk to me, just let me know, and I'm going to be here. If you need to show anything to me as you're working, that's fine. Just let me know. All right, so go ahead, and if you want to listen to your music, go for that. As I said, I'm going to mute everybody and myself, so we just have a little bit of quiet to work. All right, so let's see how that goes. Hi, Tally, it's Adria. I'm so sorry. I didn't know that you were absolutely joining this class. I didn't have your name down. I'm so sorry if that was my mistake. So I did limit the class to 8. It is full, but I can get you in. What I'm doing right now is I am recording. I just wanted to talk to you before everything.
Adria, you're unmuted, so we're hearing your conversation.
Okay, great. Thank you. Shani, did you have a question?
Oh, I was just, because I was hair drying my
Oh.
ears.
Good. Great,
But this
great,
is
great.
this is the black and white
Perfect.
and all that.
Excellent. You're all ready. Good.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, so we'll just give everybody another, some minutes and see, and then get ready to go for more stuff. Okay. Okay, how are we doing, everybody? Just to kind of get a sense of, are we almost done? Are we ready to move on? Or are people still working? If you are done, just give me a thumbs up. Excellent. All right. And I don't see 3 people. So here you go. Susan, you're done. Okay, great. Joan, how are you doing over there? All right, why don't we all unmute ourselves so I can just get a sense of where we are. It looks like we're pretty much good to go for the next part, right? This
Well,
is
my pieces aren't dry. They're not dry yet.
yeah, that's right. That's good. No problem, because we're not going to be using them now.
Okay.
This is why we're going to do something else while they're drying. Joan, how are you doing? Did you manage to get your pieces done? You need to unmute.
Yeah, I'm just trying to get my phone charged.
Okay,
Okay,
and you're pretty much done.
yes, I'm done.
Perfect. Okay, good. So we're going to go back to work now. Great. So as you can see, this is a process where we're going to need to have these papers dry, which is fine. So that's the beauty of a 3-hour class, and we'll see how far we get. We may not get to them exactly today, in which case we'll have that for our homework. Okay, so we will be doing more paper making for sure. I mean, painting on paper. I know that that's very interesting to a lot of you, and we will be doing more of that, and we will be working on color next week. But as I said today, it's a good day to get grounding. The grounding on, the elements of composition, feeling comfortable with all that stuff, and really paying attention to, how much you can really say with just black, white, and gray, and also really engaging with the value, light and dark. And that is sometimes color can just, blind us to that. So we need to remember that color really is so much also about value. And it really guides us when we start to work with color, and can make us feel a little less confused, because we all love color, but color it's very seductive, and it can kind of get a little bit, take us out of the places where we want to be. All right. So this next thing will be an exercise in which you're going to be paying attention now to the stack of black and white and gray pieces of paper that I'd asked you to collect. How are we doing with that? Does everybody have at least something to play with here today? Yeah, good. And
Yeah.
I think going to I know it's hard if I don't really have some great magazines myself around anymore. I really had to go to the web and but fortunately you can easily, print out, if you have a printer, print out things to work with. And so that's what I did, and maybe you're doing the same. But what I want to do now is to take us to Padlet. And we haven't really talked about that, but that's the next sort of technological hurdle to get over. So let me again share my screen with you and see if we can go to Padlet. Because if you managed to get there, how many of you actually got to the collage page?
Well, I think I did. Yeah.
Yeah, you did, Joan. Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, we have a collage page? Is
Yes,
there?
I sent you the link. Don't worry though, I'll send it again.
Okay,
But,
okay, oh, I see it. So
yeah.
I have my Padlet, so if I need to go to that, I have the Padlet on my
Oh,
phone. So I need to go to the link. I got to use the link to get to that.
Yes, the link that I sent you. So the way we do it is everybody's got the Padlet app on their phone, right?
Right.
No.
Okay, if you don't, you're going to want to do that, because that's the easiest way to do this.
Okay.
You don't have to do it now if you didn't get a chance
Okay.
to do it. Don't worry about it. That's some chances are, today we'll deal with it. But yeah, download the Padlet app. Really good idea, because fortunately, it looks like we all have phones. Then what you'll want to do when I'm asking you to upload stuff, the easiest thing is to just go to that link. I'll send it to you again, so it's right on the top of your email. Click on the link. It will take you directly to, this is all on your phone. It'll take you directly to the Padlet, and then that's where you're going to upload your images, or just take a picture of the work you've done and it'll automatically upload. If you didn't get a chance to do it today, or it's hard, you can, when I ask for images, and that'll be toward the end of the class, you can just send me an email with your images today. Okay. Yeah, so no worries about that. Okay, so now what I want to do is take you there, because I uploaded some images for you that, see what I want to do here. Hold on a second. I'm going to get directly to Padlet here. That are are very similar to what I'm going to ask you to do today in the next half an hour, which is to work. Hold on, I'm just going to get to my account here for you all before I see it. So,
So if I pressed on that link, so
yes.
I'm in your collage class, hi collage folks with the pictures, right? That you sent.
Yes, that's right. You made it. Okay, is this what you all see?
Yes.
Good, excellent. Phew. All right, perfect. So this is what Padlet looks like. And this is, as you can see, it's a great way for us all to share what we're working on. If you've worked with me before, you might have had your own Padlet. That was for the longer classes, and we kind of had, more to work with. This is just an easier way to do that, just as easier for all of us to share one Padlet. Make sense, everybody?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. So what I did here was I did an assignment that you're going to do, which is, do you remember the little the piece of paper that I asked you to cut out a rectangle in, yeah, okay. We're going to be using those in this assignment. And what you're going to be doing is you're going to be making, I'm going to say between 4 to 6 small collages using your material that you've found. And this is what I did here. Now, I am not saying that these are great or perfect or balanced or whatever. I'm just saying I did this, and what I want you to do. Oh, thank you for putting that up, Katie. You don't need to put that up. But
Oh, okay, sorry.
that's
I'm
okay.
sorry.
No, it's fine. No worries. I'm glad you figured it out. Yep. So let's take a look at this one. I do have text. I do have words. I even probably do have a little bit of a photo here, but I want you to just ignore that. Ignore what it says, ignore everything, but squint your eyes and look at how the elements kind of work together on this page, right? You see my outer little guy. This is how I did this. What I did was I slipped in torn pieces underneath that edge so that I automatically had a nice little border. It really is a great little tool because it helps you make arrangements without having to go to the trouble of gluing them all down until you're ready, right? Okay, so what do you see about this particular design that you notice? And this is, I don't, please do not, we're not talking about whether it's good or bad. We're talking about what kind of things you notice about this design in terms of how you look at it. How does your eye go through it? What are the sort of things that keep it, do you think that make it unified or not? Anybody want to just throw?
Oh, my eye goes to the white with the black
Yes.
right away. And it's hard to get away from it.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah,
So there's a barrier. There's a
There's
barrier, the
a
whole black
barrier.
barrier around it.
the dark is
Exactly.
like negative spaces.
You guys are brilliant.
Yeah, and also after really one of your exercises, my eye does follow the strong contour lines there, which are actually, yep, up, yep.
Yeah.
That's and then down, yep.
Yes. So theoretically, and this is something that designers often think about. Text, like lots of little text like this, really reads as gray. And that's a really good thing to think about if you happen to have text that you tore out, so you could just use this as a gray. The thing that's interesting about it though is that it also kind of, when you really squint and you can't see the letters, it looks like lines, right?
Mhm.
Like thin gray lines.
Mm.
So they kind of work with this thin purple line, and they repeat the lines in this heavier text down here, right? Yeah, so that's kind of interesting. The other thing that's happening too is that there's also this sort of rectangular block. I think that works, even though the rest of this is torn and kind of organic, because we're repeating that down here in these big blocky letters. You know, so your eye says, okay, oh, hey, here we are again. I see that, you know, and maybe even this little area here that's very faint, but it still is the same kind of line. So the fact that this is both organic shapes and, you know, linear, pretty right angle shapes, it works in here because we're repeating both of those things. Okay. Let's try this other iteration. Again, what do you find you're looking at? Maybe it's the same thing.
No,
No? Anybody else want to, what are you thinking?
well, it goes off the page, the big, large letters, the white goes way off the page, so.
Yeah, oh, right.
I'm led down. And the negative space is less negative.
Uh-huh.
It's my impression.
Right. And do you ever notice when your brain isn't trying to read something, you suddenly can pay attention to these beautiful negative spaces within the text.
Right.
By the way, that's another thing that graphic designers who work with text all the time pay super attention to. That's why there are all these different fonts, because they are nerds about this stuff. They love this whole, you know, the channels between letters and also lines. Yeah, so this is interesting because here we have our sort of sunburst, you know, but you're saying you don't look at that first because it's subtle, isn't it? It's more gray, but you know, you might look at that second. I don't know. I'm just noticing that myself. So again, you know, we're playing on the same thing as before because it's basically the same elements. I'm just using them in a slightly different way. Okay, let's look at another one that's very different then. Let's take a look at this one. So I'm just trying to kind of set you up for, you know, how we're going to go here. What do you notice about this one?
Well, the negative spaces it's a positive negative is pretty clear, and they go off the edges, and it's simple, but definitely gets my eye to go from the bottom right up. It's like an arrow up to that next.
Yes, isn't it? Yes. And we are going to follow the arrows, you know, even if they're not really arrows, but they're acting as arrows. Absolutely. And you're right. This white is, because it's so much lighter in value, you know, it's providing a really strong contrast. And that's something else we really haven't talked about, contrast. But that is what value gives you. That, you know, value gives you contrast, which gives you power in a design, right? If this were all the same, you know, shades of gray and black, and it was all very subtle, it might still be an interesting design, but it wouldn't, you know, this has got sort of a pow factor to it. So if you want a pow factor, then you know that you can manipulate the various lights and darks to get you there, right? All right, well, you know,
And it's so satisfying.
good. So yeah, I mean, and you know, this one was also kind of a different one too, because it is really simple. These things are very much divided by this very strong, you know, contrasty white thing here. This reminds me that it could be a good political poster. Like,
Yeah.
you know, yeah, but
You know, one more shape in there, it would be a Schwartz sticker, unfortunately.
yeah, no, exactly. So it's like that's the kind of thing that, again, you know, this is all about. The graphic designers are always using this, and we can too. So, you know, getting the idea of good and bad or right and wrong out of it to simply, you know, help us to manipulate what we know about how people's eyes look, and does this get you back into the picture is the question, you know. The question is, if this were any more separated, I think we would lose interest. So this is very interesting, and this is stuff that we can just kind of notice as we're moving along. How close do these two, you know, image shapes need to be to still make this design cohesive? Like if they were another inch away, would it still work? If they were almost off a page, would it still work? You know, that's an interesting thing to think about. Okay, so for the next half an hour at 12 o'clock, we're going to see how if we need to go further. I'm sorry, there's no lunch break in here. I'm sorry, you're going to have to just throw some, take a little snack break if you need to. That's fine. But you're going to be putting together a series of collages that you're going to now use with your black, white, and gray that you collected. What I would like you to do is to glue them down well enough so that you can take pictures of them and throw them up on Padlet when you're ready. But I would like you to see if you can make as many as 6 in the next half hour, which means it's about 5 minutes per. But that's very good, because one of the ways, and those of you who worked with me before know, this is one of the things that I really push you to do a lot and do them quickly so that you don't overthink. If you start to overthink, you'll go crazy. And we don't want anybody to lose their minds in this class. It's really not about perfection. It's about, let's see, you know, some of the things that you're trying out. Okay.
Okay.
All right. And I'm here to save anybody if you need it, anytime you want to. And again, I'm going to mute everybody. And if you need any help from me, I'm happy to do that. Okay.
Oops. Am I unmuted? So, Adria,
Yeah.
you kind of encouraged us to find pictures, but then also graphic
Yeah.
images.
Yeah.
Just like combine them as any way we wish, right?
Exactly. And really, what the most important thing, thank you for bringing that up, but I want to reiterate, don't pay attention to what the images are you're using. You know, that's completely out of the picture, because that will, you know, that'll get in our way. We want to just really look at these as shapes of light and dark.
Thank you.
Yep. Okay.
And Adria?
Yeah.
Yeah, this is Susan.
Yeah.
We're supposed to be using those little pieces of paper that we cut out?
Yes, thank you. Yes,
Yeah.
yes, you should. Yes, yes.
Viewfinder? Oh, the little pieces of paper.
Yeah,
Right.
so the viewfinder that we cut out, you know, is great for finding, because it's exactly the same shape, size as your little pieces of paper. So you can use that to just assemble your piece before you actually glue it down. That's a great way to get started. And then, you know, it's just helpful to be able to see what you're doing. Okay, if it gets in your way, don't worry about it. You know, I just thought it might, I found it helpful.
Yeah.
Okay. So feel free to reach out if you have any questions. And we'll go for about half an hour on this.
Adria, I'm sorry, I'm not clear about one thing.
And yes.
Hey, I have one question.
Yeah.
Someone said we should be using these?
No,
Not
so
yet.
now, no, yeah, that we're gonna
Steve.
decide. Yeah, we're gonna,
Yeah.
perfect. Yes.
All right.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, sure.
Excuse me, Adria. You want us to take pictures and put these up on Padlet by 12:30?
I would love you to, yes, do that. Are you ready?
Yes. You didn't expect them to be like perfectly glued down or anything?
No, 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 no.
Right now I'm going to go picture them.
Fabulous. All right, everybody. So we have about 10 more minutes, but what I'd love you to do is in that next 10 minutes, kind of wrap it up. Do not worry about any of these. They're all just practice pieces, see what comes up, see what works, see what is interesting, and then take pictures of each one. And then if you can, and I'm going to send you that link right now in your emails, click on that link on your cell phone and it'll take you right to the collage page, and then just upload those. If you are not able to access it, just simply attach your photos to an email and send them to me. Okay, I'm gonna go send that email now.
If we don't have 6 done, do you still want us to post what we have?
Just put up what you have. Yep, whatever you
Okay,
have.
because I definitely don't have 6. So.
Okay, now we're just shooting for 6. If you can get there, that's great. If you can't, don't worry about it. It's fine.
Okay, thanks.
Thanks, Susan. Okay, everybody, how are we doing? I know it's fast, but there is a reason for that, as we talked about earlier. When you're doing more than one thing and you're kind of in a time crunch, it keeps you from thinking too much.
Oh, shit.
Okay, any problems, issues? You should find the link in your email, which I just sent. So when you're ready, just click on that link and that will take you to the Padlet. That's when you're going to put your stuff up, and that plus at the bottom will help you. Jean, you look like you have a question.
I think I did it, but I can't really tell, and I don't really know how I did it.
Okay. Yeah, let me go find it and see. Hold on, I will let you know. That's too funny. Yes, you did. Jean's got it. Joan has it. Excellent. There you go. Good work, everybody.
I'm so messy. I have stuff everywhere, mostly on my hands.
Yeah, tell me about it. I'm right there with you.
I even use that stuff, a barrier cream.
Yeah, that's good.
I
That's
can't, I have it all over my arms. I don't know. I'm just a messy person.
that's a really good idea, because that helps you get the paint off much faster. I used to use it and I just started using it again and I forgot how good it is. All right, everybody. So let's go ahead and come to an ending with this particular exercise. And again, if you would just put it up on Padlet or just simply put it in an email if it's just hard to navigate that.
Adria, I put 4 up, but only
Yes.
1 is showing.
Nope, I
You
see
can
all
only
of them,
see-
Joan. I've got them all.
Oh,
up.
okay,
Yep,
good.
you did
Okay,
it.
good.
Yep.
Hey, Joan.
You see any of mine? For some reason, my.
Yes,
I
Katie.
have-
Oh, let's see. Do I see yours?
Besides the tester one that I did earlier.
No, Katie, I don't see yours up. So remember, go to the link that's
No, my phone just kind of froze, but I think I get it now.
Oh, okay, I see them now. Oh, dear.
Actually, I have to say that, Adria, I found a lot of black, white, and gray stuff in. I had an Elle magazine, a Vogue magazine, 2 Vogue magazines.
Oh, perfect. Well, that's the thing you need. Yeah, I didn't have any of those. That's
They
great.
go buy them.
That's great. Yep.
But there's a lot of black, white, and gray ad stuff there.
Yeah, that's a really good source. You're lucky if you have that for sure.
Adria, for some reason, I'm having a problem. It's coming up asking me what color it is. And I've never had this.
What?
Yeah, I don't know. I'm gonna.
Did you?
I did it before with the tester.
Okay, you have to go to the link in the email that I sent you.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, you know what? Don't worry about it. Just email them.
Okay.
Yeah.
I click on the plus sign and nothing is happening. It's like frozen.
It takes a few seconds for it to upload.
Yeah, no, I can't even get it to,
Sometimes you have to just restart your phone.
I did. I'll just send a couple of pictures too.
Susan St. Maurice, I looked at your picture and you suddenly turned into a puppy. That's really funny. Okay.
I'm trying to do 10 things at once and I can't get the pictures easily from any device onto any other place. So that's why I shut it down. So you,
Yeah,
I
no
had one
worries.
less thing to look at.
Okay, no worries, no
I'm
worries.
gonna keep trying.
Yeah, so just email me the images, everybody, if it doesn't work.
Well, I usually do Padlet from my laptop and I'm not sitting there now. So I'm trying to do it on the iPad and the phone and it's just being stupid.
Yeah, I know. I think the iPad is a little difficult with it. But yeah, no problem if you just need to email. I just wanted to say what we're going to do in the next half hour before our class is over, talk about a fast morning, is to take a look at what you have done in this little time frame and see, you know, how this is all working out, especially in terms of the value, like about these collages and the way that the value is distributed, you know, and how that works visually in terms of engaging the viewer. Okay, so I am going to go to Padlet now and share the screen with you all that way. So you know, don't worry if you haven't yet done it, go ahead and upload it as we're talking, or just send me an email with your images, however many you did. Okay, so I'm going to share the screen and hopefully that will work. Everybody see this? Yeah. Okay, so we see, let's just talk as, you know, and we're not going to spend a whole lot of time on anybody. What we want to do is look at the grouping and, you know, talk about what we're noticing in terms of the distribution, just in terms of what we have already just been talking about today, you know, already. Think about positive, negative, thinking about how your eye is.
Cold air coming across the floor. I'm sorry, I'll go out of the room.
No, but why do you have to say the same thing?
Somebody's got it, but
Okay.
Look at the same exact feeling, the same exact word. Every time it's like.
you might want to mute yourselves.
Don't you ever get bored listening to yourself?
I get bored of paying my heating.
Someone needs to mute.
There we go. I just asked that. I just did that thing. All right. Okay, so I'm muting. All right, so here we go. Let's do Joan. All right, so Joan, you have 4 pieces up here. And
Yeah, for some reason, I can't hear you. And you're not muted. I did something weird.
well, we do see these here. So that's what
I can't hear it.
Oh, you can't hear me? Can you hear me? Oh, yeah, good. Susan's got hers going on here. Good. All right.
Yeah, no,
Right.
I may have to log on again. I think I have to leave and start over.
All right, so you're right. We're going to start with somebody else then.
Okay.
Okay, so let's do, oh, good. Everybody's getting them up here. This is great. Okay, it's fun to see them coming in like this. Good, 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 good. How was this assignment? We're just going to take a second. You know, what did people think about doing this? Was this hard? Was it nerve-wracking? Was it fun? you know,
I
what
want
did
to
you
do
find?
more. I want to do more.
You want to do more? Good. You're gonna.
Nerve-wracking.
Yeah, yeah.
Nerve-wracking for me.
Too much time cutting out the shapes and then all of a sudden I
Yes.
have to put them together, so.
Yeah, well, it is a process, but you know, as I always like to say, when you're kind of pushing yourself through it, working quickly, you find that you're not, you know, too obsessed by anyone, because that's not the point here. We really want to kind of move across and just get things done, just in terms of seeing how they look. All right, so you know, it's a little hard to talk when people are still putting these in. All right, you know what? We're going to go to Jean here. Let's start with that, and then as the rest of you get yours uploaded, we'll talk about those. So looking at Jean's here, these four, would anybody like to just kind of weigh in? What's how do you know, which one do you find is engaging your eye most, and why?
I like the one that's the simplest, the one that just the two shapes, that one.
This
Yeah,
one in here.
that you're circling on.
Okay, can you say why, Susan?
Because they're very balanced, and they're sort of stable. It's a stable image that just is interesting to look at. I like the way their reflections sort of reflecting each other with the zigzag, and
Yeah.
the textures are intriguing. The pebbly texture on the bottom and the white on top. It's just a beautiful contrast of similar shapes and textures and layout, but it's interesting and it's stable, but it's not boring.
Okay, good. Yeah, no, that's a good way to put it. Oops, we just lost that one. Let me just, oh yeah. So we were talking about this one, I think. Let me bring this one up here. Yeah, so Susan, what you were saying here is that this is interesting to you. I agree. That's a pretty cool thing to have a sort of reference to reflection a little bit. And so we have that repetition going on. I know that Susan, you're kind of drawn to minimalism, and so maybe that's another reason why you particularly were drawn to this one. I just have a question for you, Jean, and that is, what are we thinking about this now? Is your design at the edge of this here, or do you really say that this is your edge? The outer border is really your edge? And should we look at this design with that in mind, or are we just looking at this?
Yes, we're just looking at the inside.
Oh, okay. So what I want you to do is also frame it so that what you want us to look at is really what is framed up. So a way to do that would be to take a pair of scissors and cut this right down.
Oh, into its shape, you mean? Cut it
Shape,
right
because,
down into its
yes,
shape.
because what's happening is we're reading, you know, a sort of art word about, you know, we use the word reading to, you know, we're looking at this whole design and thinking that the white, that as you've got it, is part of the design. So if you don't mean it to be, what you really want to do is cut it right down to the edges where you want us to read it.
Cool. I'm doing it and cutting it.
Okay. Yes, because that makes a big difference, and that's true. So for example, when I look at this one here, this one's going right off the page, and I see these negative shapes of the white very much, like they are as valuable as the other real estate you've got going on here.
Yeah.
You know, and so
That's
the
true.
other one, you know, as Susan said, it's a striking design, but when we have to read it with the white as you had gotten it, it's a little confusing.
This one is confusing.
No, the other one, just in terms of where, you know, like this one, we're saying it's a strong.
Yeah,
image,
I didn't think about cutting it out, but I just cut it out.
Good. Okay, maybe you can quickly put that up, and then we will move quickly to everybody else. You want to see if we can get that up there right now, and see what we think.
Want me to put this on Padlet?
Yeah. Let's do that.
How can I do that without having it have something around it?
Just the way these did. All right, well, I'll tell you what, we're going to come back to you. Let's do Shani's here. Shani, you have 3 up in the top, and I'm wondering if we could do the same thing. Somebody weigh in on which one are you finding you're engaging with most, and why?
It's one that's not shown here, actually.
Oh, interesting.
Okay.
Well, of these 3, let's ask somebody, not Shani, let's somebody else from the group. Which one do you feel like you're engaging most with of these 3?
I like the middle one the best
All
with
right,
the
talk about
circle.
that. Yeah, why, Joan?
Well, there's movement in it for me. You
How's
know,
that?
I go from that little stick in the bottom
Yeah.
left, and then I look up the circle, and there's like a repetition in white of that shape on the bottom left,
Mhm.
and then my eye goes down to the square or rectangle, and then the 2 circles where there's also repetition.
Yes.
And there's also nice contrast in terms of dark and light. So I think I like that the best.
Very good. I like the way you said that. And also, I just want to point out, you said movement at first. And do you know that when you have things on diagonals, you create already, right from the get-go, a feeling of movement, because diagonals are not stable. They're on their way someplace. So they're either falling down or going up, so they do give us a sense of imbalance and movement. So that if you want one designed to do that, that's a great thing to do. Okay, so we're going to try to get around to everybody before the end of our class. So forgive me if you feel like I'm not getting over everybody. This is more like, let's talk about these and what do we get. Susan, you have these 3. Susan St. Maurice has 1, 2, 3 up here. Does somebody want to choose one of these 3 that you find is most engaging to you, and why?
I like the one, her third one, the last one with that one. It just I don't know, it says something. It includes black, white, and gray. It has texture, it has movement with that diagonal.
Oops, somebody's not muted. Go ahead, yeah.
So did you get that?
Yes. Okay, so yeah, right. And you notice, so we can tell that this is the outside of her design because we've got the gray background. So that, we understand that this is the design, and we're not including the gray. So yeah, right. And you're saying that that's the most pleasing to you, keeps you engaged. I mean, look what the eye is doing. So I always seem to enter in the bottom right, and then I'm going up this channel, almost like a ladder, into this, and then falling back into this really nice sort of organic shape here. So it does engage us. Yeah, good. All right, let's look at somebody else's. I think somebody's still unmuted. You need to mute yourself if you're on the phone, and everybody, somebody sounds like they're on the phone. Okay, let's talk about Joan. Joan, you have these 3 here. Does somebody want to pick out one of Joan's that they feel is successful in terms of engaging the eye, keeping the eye moving around and thinking about negative spaces? Which one is that one for you?
I like her third one, that one. Oop, that one.
This one here?
No, next one.
Oh, okay, whoops, sorry. Right, okay, yeah. All right, great. Let's do you want to say something about that? No, not this one?
No.
Okay,
Other.
whoops.
Not that one.
All right. So I see 1, 2,
You were right. That one.
this one.
Yeah.
Okay, great. Okay. Do you want to say why?
Well, I feel like I got some kind of shape all together with all of the different texts in there. I almost feel the same thing about what you said about mine. I'd like to see that cut out.
Ah, yes.
And not have the background, the paper be the edge, that would be the edge. Do you know?
Yes, exactly. So right now these are floating a little bit, Joan, because even though this is a different value color of white, it's, you know, we still really, if we're squinting at it, it just really becomes, you know, the text. So it feels a little floating, you know, and that's fine if that's what you're working toward. But in terms of a design that engages us a little bit more, I would say you might throw a piece of black or darker shape in here somewhere and let it go right off the page. That would be one way to sort of settle it, pull it down and have it, you know, have it kind of be not so floating. Make sense? Yep. Oops, Joe.
Yes, yeah, thank you.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, the things that, you know, we do read about it, the things that make it, you know, work together are the kind of repetitions of the line, because we have this strong one, we have this strong one, you know, and we do have some of it going on in here. But what we're missing now is a strong element of contrast, because right now they're more or less gray. And then there's a lot of white, so it feels floating. Okay, so that would be something to perhaps work on a little bit more. Let's see, Katie, where are we? Who is in the top here? Yeah, Shani, it looks like your image isn't coming through on these other ones. But that's okay. We already, all right, we talked about Shani. Who else is up here? Who else do we? Did everybody else send me the emails? Yes, oh, it looks like we did. Okay. I'm going to start here. Collages with Anne, because you sent them all on the same piece of paper. All right, Anne. There we go. So you have 1, 2, and hold on a second. There ought to be a way. Oh yeah, there we go. 3. Okay, so we'll do this again. So 1, 2, 3. All right. Hard to see them all at once, but is there one that, why don't we talk about this one? What do you think is engaging about this one?
I
Or
like the juxtaposition of the very close-up detailed on the right, and then the distance view in the middle, and then another like a medium close-up on the left. It's just kind of bouncing my eyes back and forth, deep and far and close, and then deep and far again.
yeah, right. Susan, exactly. And now she's also, and you're also using a combination of organic sort of rounder shapes and these really hard edge geometric. So in this case, your repetition comes more with the geometric over here. So one thing you might do, and of course you get the organic, which, you know, sort of goes back to here. Over here, you might think about bringing in a little bit more organic in here, so that these two things draw our eyes back here. Because right now I find I'm more looking at this. This is almost acting like a sort of block for me, like the other one we were doing, the orange one, or the color one, and I was showing you the video of. So how can we bring our eyes over here and make this also as much a part of the design as the rest of it is really working so well? All right, let's go to, who else is here? Collage, there we go. And Susan, we'll get to you. Kathleen, Katie rather. All right, 1, 2, 3. All right.
Middle one was supposed to be in another direction, but it doesn't, you know, it's okay.
Okay. All right, let's see. Let's talk about this one. So how is this for people? Do we have enough repetition in here? How are the negative shapes? What are you thinking about this one?
Yeah, there's a lot of repetition going around. So obviously there's the angles and the repetition.
Yes.
I find that the most interesting part is actually the negative space. in the bottom right corner,
Uh-huh.
half. That's really coming out nice and clear, and it's really a beautiful shape.
Yes, you know, that's interesting. This is something to try. If you have this on your screen, take a piece of paper and just kind of lay it over about halfway down. And you're seeing, I'm thinking, Katie, that part of your design, this
Yeah.
part right here,
Yep.
is really very successful, and it's a nice balance. I think for me, this strong, rigid area here, it's almost too much. It's almost like two separate designs. So you can almost cover the bottom too and see that this, you know, this really works well, and your negative shapes are very well defined here, and interesting, and kind of part of the whole thing. And but this one also, but the whole thing, I think what's happening is even though you do have these round shapes, and they do definitely bring you back, you're right, there's something for me that it could be that this needs another sort of like a black shape behind it.
Yeah.
You know, there's something that you could do more. See it, and this is great. You know, these are all sort of begging you to go back and, okay, this is your question. How can I resolve this? What does it need to give me that feeling of sort of okay, it's complete, you know?
Yeah. I struggled with like the stuff that I cut up, and when I started putting it down, I felt like there wasn't enough. I didn't have enough like really dark black stuff.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so I kind of threw that in there, but I guess if I'm really focusing on the negative space, there kind of is that contrast and contour lines that are there.
Yes. Yeah, and that's really working well. And part of it is that you went right off the page with these, you know, so that we can really see that clearly. So that's very strong. Yeah. Yeah, they're all, you know, every single design, you know, has really got a lot to talk about within it. And we don't have a whole lot of time. And again, I can't really, you know, go into all the detail, but let's look at Susan and make sure that we get to everybody today. All right, let's just see. All right, good one. All right, let me just go to the next one.
Yeah, sorry, I sent him as 3 emails. I had tech panic. I just went panic.
No worries at all. I'm glad you get them up here. All right, yeah, so you're definitely using your whole piece of paper there, going right off the edge. And then let's look at this last one here. All right, so let's see, let's talk about, I'm just going to choose one to talk about, Susan. Let's go with, let's talk about this one. Okay. What is your thought about this one? How is, where do you start? Where does your eye go? What are you finding is, you know, drawing you into this, keeping your eye moving? Anybody?
There's something about that, like on the right-hand side, that black shape and how it morphs into the ribbony spaghetti in the shadows and everything, that is really, that certainly catches my eye.
Okay, so right here you're talking about?
Yeah. It's almost,
Yeah.
and the other black, it's like a shadow that's going around and underneath, and there's all like those shadows in there. That really keeps, I'm really into that. The shapes up in the upper right corner are, they're not connecting with that. And it's like, I want them to.
Right, that's interesting. So what we see here that Susan has done so well is found some imagery that repeats this sort of it's interesting, you know, sort of the arc shapes over and over again. That's repeated down here. But for me, you know, this is again doing that sort of split screen thing. I wonder, but you know, it's what it also is nice is she's got this pointy which is repeated down here. So we have this sort of, again, this pointy, and it really does a nice job of drawing your eye right through it. I mean, that's pretty clever, Susan.
Yeah.
So in that way, you almost help me bridge the gap of this very heavy, what could be a wall.
This is a beautiful, I find this extremely intriguing. I do come into it from the bottom right-hand corner.
Yeah.
And it really does take me around, and I find a lot of satisfaction in sort of the squiggly, gray lines in the bottom, and the fact that the upper right-hand beak is also black and white, black and white stripes. So it's like really, there's a lot of repetition but with a lot of difference in sizes, which is really, I find really well done.
Yes. And remember, she's also using a diagonal. So we have a sense of movement there, which we know is kind of a nice thing, So anyway, that's good. Yeah.
Can I ask a question?
Please. Yeah.
About it?
Yeah.
That's that pointy stripy thing in the upper right-hand corner.
Yeah.
I almost didn't put that on. And so wispy things would have shown all the way. Do you think it would have been better without that pointy stripy thing? Because you still would have had that circular motion.
Right. What do you all think? It's kind of hard to visualize it.
Yeah, I can visualize it because I saw it. Right.
Yeah.
I can visualize that, and I find that to be so stark. And I think I saw that in that shape that you were talking about in mine. There's a gentleness to everything else that just brings my eye in, and the wispiness of the feathery things up there. That might be the block there. It'd be interesting to see if you took it out, if my eye would kind of keep moving around, from the bottom and up and around the way the wispy, feathery things.
Right.
Yeah.
No, it's a very interesting question, and that's the fun of doing this.
Yeah.
Okay, who did we not see? I just want to make sure that we talk to everybody here. Who did we not see? Let's see.
The other Anne.
Anne, yeah. Do you want to get
Robertson.
some stuff up there, Anne?
I don't think she's with us.
Oh, yes, she is. Yeah. Anne Schaffler. Yeah. Do you?
Oh.
Yeah, you. Yeah. Yeah. You want to unmute yourself?
I sent you things in my email.
Oh, okay. Oh, we looked at them. I'm sorry. Hello.
We looked at one, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, good. All right. Anybody did I miss?
So I'm saying other Anne isn't with us.
Yeah. The other Anne. Yeah. She poor thing. She's got stuff she has to deal with over in her daughters. Okay. So well, everybody, what we're going to do is come to the ending of this class, but I'm glad that we got a chance to see everybody's pieces, even if it was just, one or two from everybody. But this, just to say, I think we've gotten to the place where we can really speak pretty well about this. You have the vocabulary to talk about these designs very nicely. And so in the coming weeks, we will be circling back to this language, circling back to some of the concepts we talked about today. But for homework, and I will send you information about this, I would love for you to excuse me, do some collages with the other painted pieces that we did. So now you have the ones that we worked on today, those painted papers that weren't ready to use yet. I managed to forget about putting the record on, so I'm going to just do that now as we come to the end here. Hold on a second.